Just when I thought Michelle cannot surprise me, and we have the most, the most interesting conversations. What's going on, everybody? It's your guy, the one, the only BMT. I didn't even put on my cap, man. I'm really lacking this show. It's your guy BMT coming at you again, and I'm joined here with the one, the only, the attorney Nichelle. Say hello, Nichelle.
Greetings, everyone.
So again, and I gotta tip my hat off when somebody is right. But we already saw this coming. But everybody was screaming up and down about what they say that we're not conservatives or we're not this, we're not that. But the government never ceases to amaze me. Everybody was worried about what about the babies? What about the babies? Y'all don't care about society. And here we are. So coming on in, please like the video, share the video. What we definitely have that we're going to be covering is definitely, it's going to be hitting on some hard press matters that are going to very much affect you and the people around you. If you want to, you can definitely look up these articles yourself. We also have Nichelle, so we don't have to guess. We don't have to guesstimate on this. Nichelle, could you please tell them your profession and what you do? Go ahead, dear.
Oh, everyone who doesn't know, I am a licensed Texas attorney. I've been licensed to practice law since 1995. I'm a graduate of Duke University, undergrad, and George Washington University Law School. So
Okay.
I am considered an expert in my field. I specialize in constitutional law, real estate, commercial law. But we're at the time now in which I don't know what's going on with the Supreme Court. We are seeing a conservative Supreme Court when the Supreme Court had operated under the rule of law. Now that we have a conservative Supreme Court, they are now going back to the idea of original intent. What did the people who wrote the original Constitution, what was in their heads? Now, bear in mind that the men who wrote the original Constitution, they allowed slavery. They allowed men to own their wives. They did not believe that Black people were people. They did not believe that women had the right to buy land, manage their own money. These men did not believe that American Indians had any rights to land. So this is where we are with this original intent rationale, and it is highly disturbing to me. While everyone was focusing in on, oh my God, are they going to overturn Roe v. Wade? Are they going to end, a woman's right to have an abortion? They took away something far, far more valuable. Have you guys heard of the Miranda right? It is a right that says before the police before they take you into custody, they have to read you your Miranda rights. They have to tell you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, then a court will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you understand these rights? The Supreme Court just decided.
Now, hold on. But wait, Nichelle, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm not going to be affected by that. I just got to obey the law. Why should I care?
Which law? Which law? I mean, there are so many laws out there. I mean, do you not understand that loitering, the definition of loitering is you're standing in one spot too long? I mean, you're walking down the street, you could still be considered loitering because you're not moving in a direction fast enough. you are loitering. So there are so many laws on the books at this point in time that in any given jurisdiction, we know about, you shouldn't run a stoplight, but there are other things. You could have something in your possession that is illegal in that jurisdiction. It may be legal in your jurisdiction, but different cities have different rules. And sometimes cops make up shit. Let's just be honest. Cops lie. Not all cops, but some do. So if you are a law-abiding citizen, what does that really mean? Are you checking the law every time you leave out of your house to make sure they haven't added a new law or a new city ordinance? Is your grass at the right height, or do you have a weed that's above 6 inches that you just overlooked? What do you mean by law-abiding citizen? You pay your taxes on time? You got car insurance? You got healthcare insurance? You're trying to say that you are a subject. I do what they tell me to do when they tell me to do it. That is what I mean by a law-abiding citizen. That is the way some people feel, that if they tell them to do it, they're going to do it. And that's what law-abiding citizens do. No, those are called subjects. We fought a war. We're getting ready to celebrate Independence Day. And people are defining law-abiding citizens as someone who follows the law. Well, guess what? The rules just changed. Police cannot be sued for failure to read you your Miranda rights. They cannot be sued because you do not have a constitutional right to receive Miranda warnings. That is a court-created rule. And by now, the court is very skeptical as to whether or not, in this day and age, most people don't already know they have the right to remain silent and have a right to an attorney.
But see, now the thing about it, the question is this: how many people are actually competent? Let me ask this question, Michelle. I know you're a lawyer. How many people are actually competent of the law?
Look, I'm sitting up here telling you that this case came out on Friday along with the Dobbs decision. And guess what? The Dobbs decision was 128 pages. I didn't have time to thoroughly read it yet and digest it. And now we have the Vega decision that came out that same day. And, you hear the headlines. There was a new decision today that you can't be fired for praying. Teachers can't be fired for praying with their classmates. Oh, wow. People, please. Oh, it's a victory. This is a victory. Do you know not everyone in the United States is Christian? I don't want strangers praying over my kids personally. But what if there had been an Islamic man that had been praying? What if they'd been Buddhist? There are a lot of religions out there. Are you going to be giving teachers high fives if they're part of some other non-Christian religion? Do you want people that are Catholic saying, teaching your kid to pray the way Catholics pray and do the cross and all that? I mean, it's fine if you're Catholic. I'm not downing Catholicism, but people are jumping up and down like, oh my God, this man, he got his revenge. He got the right to pray. Christianity be glorified. Yes, I am a Christian, but at the same time, I was raised Methodist. I'm fire and brimstone. I do not believe that if you know Jesus, you're going to heaven, because Satan knew Jesus. Satan knew Jesus for 40 days and 40 nights. And last I checked, Satan's not going to heaven. So just knowing Jesus is not enough in my particular religion, my particular beliefs. So let's think about what this new court, these conservatives, are doing.
Now, I want y'all
They
to
are
understand.
not following the rule of law. They are now overturning cases that we thought were Miranda was based on. It's a 19 let me see. It's been around for 60 years. So it's a 1960 case in which the Supreme Court said there are certain rights people have under the Constitution. And before you interrogate them, you need to let them know that they don't have to answer your question. You
So,
have to let them know.
so
You have
okay.
to
So
let
one
them know
person
that
asked,
they have a right to an attorney. Huh?
but see, now one person asked one question, and Doug asked it because Doug said he saw this also. He said, "So what is?" He said, "So exactly what's happening with Miranda rights?" I don't know if I missed much. Let's get to the article, and we're gonna go ahead and pull it out for you guys. You guys, if you're coming on in, like the video, share the video, support the channel. If you want to subscribe. It definitely helps the channel algorithm. But we definitely got to put it out there. What's going on? I know a lot of people, believe it or not, a lot of people don't understand what Miranda Rights does and how it drastically is being altered. I didn't, and the thing scary about it, I want you to understand this. They don't have to be public, correct, Michelle, when they're doing these things. They don't have to go public. They don't have to say, hey, this is what we're doing. They just can do it. Now, we got it right here. Let's pull up the first
I
article.
mean, it's a public opinion. I mean, it's on their website. You can read it. Um, who gets coverage of what? It just depends. But the American Civil Liberties Union represented this guy named Vega. Okay, Vega was arrested and he was not read his Miranda rights. And they coerced a confession out of him. And they used it at trial, but he was acquitted. That meant he was found not guilty. And he turned around and
I got you. Let me do this for you real quick. I'm gonna save you the time. So this was on June the 23rd, 2022. So this is actually recently. Supreme Court ruled in Vega versus Teka today that a person cannot sue a police officer under federal civil rights laws for violating their Fifth Amendment, correct, Michelle? Right against
Mhm.
self-incrimination by failing to provide a Miranda warning. Y'all don't know how much that thing protected y'all. The American Civil Liberties Union, which represented Ernesto Arturo Miranda in 1966, Miranda versus Arizona case filed an amicus brief alongside the Cato Institute in the case in support of Terrence Tucko, the plaintiff who originally brought the challenge. Brett Max Kufferman, senior staff attorney with the ACLU, had the following reaction to today's. I want to make sure y'all can see who Brett Max Kufferman is. Hang on, let's make sure y'all know. Y'all gotta understand, man. These things, these things that are happening, um, they're gonna be changes. That's Brett Max Kufferman, senior staff attorney for Senator for Democracy. That's him right there. These guys are working behind the scenes and they're working overtime. Let me had the following reaction for today's decision. The warnings mandated by Supreme Court and Miranda have been part of the fabric of law enforcement interactions with the public for more than 60 years. By denying people whose rights are violated the ability to seek redress under our country's most important civil rights statute, the country further widens the gap between the guarantees found in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and the people's ability to hold government officials accountable for violating them. Let me know if I'm off what I'm saying. We fought for the Supreme Court to recognize these rights and will to make sure our country lives up to the Constitution guarantees. Now, Michelle, could you summarize what just took place, because he's saying that, hey, you can't sue the police for violating the Fifth Amendment anymore.
Basically,
Or is that
what
incorrect?
they technically it is incorrect. You cannot sue the government if they fail
Okay.
to read you your Miranda rights. They're saying,
Okay, so
we
you can't
kind of
sue the
made
government.
that up.
Okay.
Right. We kind of made that up. The Supreme Court made up the Miranda rights. Police don't have to tell you that you have the right to remain silent. That's really not it's a constitutional right to remain silent, but they're saying that, no, we're not going to let you sue them if they fail to tell you about your Fifth Amendment right. So I guess you have a court that's sitting up there saying, we're about original intent. And the original intent, we believe in states' rights. The federal government does not tell the states how to treat the people within its borders. So those Miranda rights, the Miranda warnings, that's not a constitutional right. The constitutional right is in the Fifth Amendment, and it says you have the right to remain silent. But we don't need to tell you that. We don't need to tell you that you have a right to an attorney. So what I always tell people, if the police approach you, we live in a society where people have been trained as police officers to go home to their families. Interactions with citizens can be very volatile. So if you are approached by a police officer, I don't mean to offend anyone, but if a police officer approaches you, treat it as if a strange dog is approaching you. Proceed with caution. If a police officer approaches you, if you are being detained, then the first thing out of your mouth should be, I need my lawyer. I will not say anything until I get a lawyer. Don't plead the Fifth, say lawyer, because these are cute little rules that we have in society. That if you say, I'm taking the Fifth, I'm not going to say anything to incriminate myself, they can keep talking to you. They can ask you about the weather. They can ask you, have you committed any other crimes? They can talk to you about any damn thing they want to. But if you say, I want a lawyer, they cannot talk to you. But I want you to understand, police can lie to you. It is not unconstitutional for them to lie to you.
No,
so now,
they're law. The police can't lie to you.
Yes, police can lie to you.
They have to tell the truth.
No, they do not.
What?
They can tell you we already know you did it. We already know you did it. We got you on surveillance when there's no such thing. We already got a witness. We already got a witness that saw you did it. They can tell you, your boy already told us you got drugs on you. Your boy already gave you up. You might as well confess. We'll go easier on you. That don't happen.
Wait, so how
do they what?
Wait, so you saying that the police have been doing that for a while, been telling people we got all the evidence we need, you're going to jail to make people confess?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God. Boy, you can't trust these cops no more, man. Well, I don't know who was. God. Damn, boy. Dang, boy.
Yeah, it's.
Damn, was.
I mean, this conservative court is going back to a time before the 14th Amendment was passed. And I always ask people, I said, if the Bill of Rights only applies to the federal government and not to states, when did the federal government have the right to search and seize? I mean, they did put it out there and say, you should be free from unreasonable searches and seizures. So that does kind of like have a policing impact. And like the FBI wasn't formed until like Prohibition. So I'm still trying to understand how people can wrap their heads around the fact that the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the Eighth Amendment had nothing to do with the states. No. See, it's like this. The 14th Amendment was unconstitutional because they forced places like Texas to sign off on the 14th Amendment in order to come back into the United States. Shouldn't have left in the first place, but that's another talking point.
Let me get at this for you. Alito's attack on Miranda's warning is worse than it seems. Now, you guys, listen, we don't all have to have the same political affiliation or mindset, but I'm encouraging you guys, as me and Michelle bring this and go over it. Y'all can go look at the information for yourself. We do have it in the description if you want to go over and look at it. We don't hide our information. That's never been that was never me and Michelle's. We don't do that. We like providing information so that way you, the citizens, and other people, the viewers, can actually go check it, read it over yourself, and actually digest it and actually break it down. If you have questions, we definitely can do a call in. The justice lays the groundwork for a direct to right against self-incrimination. I'm telling y'all, we were saying, I thought people were crazy. The rights are going to begin change, man. Like they were doing test runs of how far they could push it. The Supreme Court took the first step.
You have to understand right now, as we speak, the Supreme Court is basically has gutted civil rights. The main statutes that protect your right to sue the government, to hold them accountable, is 42 USC 1983, 42 USC 1982. They basically say that you're required by law to have equal protection. And if anyone acting under the color of law violates one of your constitutional rights, then you can sue them and hold them accountable. That's what this guy tried to do. He tried to hold the officer that interrogated him without reading him his Miranda warnings accountable. And the Supreme Court said, nope, you went too far. We're not going to allow you to sue an officer for failing to read you your Miranda warnings, because it's a Miranda warning. It is not a constitutional right. So in other words, if you are taken into custody by the police, shut your damn mouth unless you say, I want a lawyer. I know, court-appointed attorneys get a bad rap, and I'm going to break it down to you on why they get a bad rap. Because the court pays their money. It's supposed to be on a daisy wheel, which means it randomly, okay, Joe, we've already given you a case. Now we're going to give Bob a case. Then we're going to give Carol a case. We're going to go down like that. What basically means you have these attorneys that their bread and butter may depend on the judge not skipping over their name. So yes, and they only get paid depending on the jurisdiction. For example, in Texas, it's about $100 per billable hour unless you're accused of a felony murder. Then the attorney might get paid $400 an hour. And I know it sounds like a lot of money, but time. If you want to go to trial, the attorney has to prepare for that trial. He has to interview the witnesses before he gets them on that witness stand. He has to look at the evidence. So you're talking trial. Reasonable, he's going to have to spend at least 40 hours doing that. And the state ain't going to pay him $4,000 for your case. They ain't going to pay them $40,000.
But Michelle, I will be within your heart. to want to help Pookie beat his drug charge. Like that, you owe your people. Why won't you keep Pookie out of jail? It's in your hands.
Because Pookie is selling poison to the community.
Okay, but you're a lawyer. That's your job. You retain.
Yeah, Pookie is selling drugs, and Pookie need to have some Pookie drug money. Just like in any business, I have expenses. I have unexpected expenses. So I have a rainy day fund. If you are out there selling drugs, if you're out there rolling in prostitution, part of it is if you get caught. That's a cost of doing business. You need to have some money set aside. You don't need to have your mama putting up her house, your grandmama putting up her house, getting a lien on the car so that she can bail you out of jail. Because bail just means you get out for the day. You can get out and start preparing for your day in court. It does not mean you pay that money. Oh, I'm good. No. Bail is just money you give to the court to say, I'll be back. And if I don't come back, you can keep that money. And that's why a lot of people, their mamas, grandmamas, aunties, they wind up losing their homes. Because guess what? This is the way it works. When someone goes in and posts bail, say like the bail is, you got $10,000 bail. You go in, you put down $1,000. The bail bondsman uses collateral. They take the title they say, if he don't show up in court, then we're going to take your house. If he don't show up in court, we're going to take your car, whatever you use as collateral. That $1,000, you don't get that back, even if you do show up in court. That is why I say, first thing, lawyer. I need a lawyer. Instead of, Mama, I'm in jail. Could you come bail me out? Mama, could you get a lawyer up here real fast, please? That is where I want your minds to be. Because as of this ruling, your recourse against the police who get a confession out of you is limited to your attorney trying to suppress that testimony as being coerced. They cannot sit up there and say, well, because remember, this guy was found acquitted. He was not found guilty. And he sued. And they're like, you should be happy you didn't go to jail, dog. Nobody told you to start flapping your mouth to the popo.
Right, because
so
and just let me read a comment. Don't mind me, guys. And thank y'all for y'all at please interact, put in your statement, put in your talk. If you want to talk or call in or come up and actually have a conversation with me and attorney Nichelle, we're here. We're game. I'm not for the way how the government's going. I know y'all were like, it's a 6-3 and all the other crap. I'm telling y'all right now, man, the way that they're going, y'all are gonna rule the day. And listen, I've been working for the government for years. The last thing you want is the government to get involved like this.
I'm a limited government.
Y'all gonna rule the day. Go ahead.
I'm a limited government conservative. And when I say limited government, I'm not a Dixiecrat. I'm not saying the federal government needs to get out of stuff. I am limited state, federal, and local. I believe the Constitution applies to every citizen of the United States, regardless of which state you reside in. You have a state of residence. Your state does not control you. They cannot, as we said on our last show, you have the constitutional right to travel. They cannot seal the borders and keep you within their state. You do not need a passport to go from state to state, but you do need a passport to exit out of the United States because you are a citizen of the United States of America. By going back to the original intent Some people were not citizens of the United States. Women were not considered citizens of the United States. So I'm not just talking about the overturning of Roe v. Wade and Casey versus Planned Parenthood. I'm saying that we now have a Supreme Court that is going back and undoing some of their previous opinions. So a lot of these rights that you thought you had, you really don't have unless it is spelled out in the Constitution. Do you have a
Hold on.
right?
Somebody says this, and let me read this. Somebody says this. He gave a written confession, and the judge ruled the confession could stand because he was not in custody. After acquittal, he sued for damages. As somebody said, they were giving the actual information. The court today determined that a violation of the Miranda rules does not provide a basis for a civil rights lawsuit under Section 1983. That's it. That's it. That's what he's saying. Now, that's interesting because the guy was violated. Stuff was violated. Y'all, do y'all know how many times the police have been getting caught violating or not reading out rights or literally putting in false? This is why a lot of cops are quitting or getting caught. They got I think they just caught it where some officers in Florida took evidence out of the locker in the show, right? Out of the locker, evidence locker, and put it onto another case. And they were like, that's not our shit. But the judge had already did the trial and said, well, don't know what to tell you. Y'all better start understanding, man, the people, if y'all don't think the laws are not changing, and I mean, you're welcome to come up. Y'all welcome to come up. We're telling you that the laws are being changed, and we're showing y'all. Like I said, it looks interesting. It's funny, as always. It's always funny until it happens to you. And then that's when it situationally is a different situation. Again.
I'm looking at the comments from what is it? Friedman's Journal. He's like, that's it.
Yeah,
they just said you couldn't sue. You couldn't sue. That's what we've always said. We came on this show and said, guess what? It is not a violation of your constitutional rights for the officers to fail to read you the Miranda warnings.
Yeah, we said that earlier.
We said that earlier. So catch up, Friedman's Journal. But the reason I said what I said is because the only entity that can violate your constitutional rights are the government. The government is the only. Private companies cannot violate your constitutional rights. So 42 USC 1983 is the only way you can sue the government for damages caused by violations of your constitutional rights. So I'm making it very clear for those in the cheap seats that Miranda warnings, the right to have those constitutional rights read to you, does not exist in the sense of, oh, can you sue them for failing to do that? No, you cannot. There's no damages. Can your attorney work to suppress your testimony, your confession? Yes, he can. But why make his job harder? Why run your bill up? Well, I can always get my attorney, to get my confession thrown out. Shut the fuck up. Whether they read you your rights or not, shut the fuck up. Ask for an attorney. These are the practical things I'm trying to give to you.
No, let me get this out. And again, listen, guys, we appreciate all your comments, everything. Like I said, Y'all put it out there. We're going to read them, and we're going to definitely reply right back to it. The Supreme Court took the first steps toward overruling Miranda v. Arizona on Thursday, declaring that suspects have no constitutional rights to receive the famed Miranda warnings when they're taken into custody. It's 6-3 decision in Vega v. Tech ensures that many suspects who are denied these warnings will have no legal recourse. Even if they are wrongly convicted, Justice Sam Alito's opinion for the courts lays the groundwork for more direct assault on Miranda itself, barely concealing the conservative contempt for the decision. They revolve around the Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination, which bars a defendant from being compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. For much of American history, and especially in the Jim Crow South, law enforcement officers. Now, the reason why, and I'm gonna keep on with this, law enforcement officers, the reason why I say this is very important, because right now we're having it where we're looking at for guns, for gun rights. We're looking at it for how we saw how the government was acting for shutting down what they viewed as, hey, cities, states, what they deemed as necessary and unnecessary. Yeah, I'm looking at it as they're pushing the mantle. Like, it's like a rubber band. You know what I'm saying, Michelle, of just how much I can get away. I ain't talking about local. I'm talking about government. And if they know that you cannot come at them with recourse, like I've been swatted before. I'm not sure if people know what swatted is. Some people probably do. Listen, you let the FBI do some stuff to y'all or fuck with y'all. There's nothing y'all can do about it. They're going to be like, well, shit. Like, people start talking, start saying stuff. Luckily, I knew what I can and can't do. If you don't know what you can and can't do, people start sweating bullets. People start acting weird. People start getting pushed into confessions and stuff. And when you're like, whoa, like, you didn't get your Miranda rights read, they're like, what? Well, you can't sue me. I find it interesting, but a lot of those people on January 6th, some of them were saying some of their stuff was violated. I believe me and Michelle both heard that on our political party sides. But guess what? There was no recourse back to the government. They were like, well, you can't come at it. And they're openly saying that you cannot have any recourse. We're talking about this. This, like I said, it all comes down the pipe eventually. It's only like every time they just take a piece. They don't attack you at a whole. They just take a piece by a piece. See, so long as you don't get touched, you don't have a problem with that. I believe that's how it worked, Michelle. They came for him and they came for them. But when they came for me, there was nobody to defend me. So long as it's not at your doorstep, there's not a problem. Like I said, man, y'all better pay attention to how the government's moving, because they're going to keep on doing stuff, and the rights of a lot of different entities are being violated. A lot of them being violated. Coerced confessions from suspects using intimidation or outright violence. These confessions were frequently false. Courts were supposed to assess whether confessions were voluntary, but the secrecy of interrogation rooms combined with the massive power imbalance between police and suspects made this task impossible. In 1966, the Supreme Court tried to resolve this problem, which required police to warn suspects that they have a right to remain silent and to assess an attorney. The majority hope that suspects would quickly acquire counsel who would ensure that law enforcement did not coerce or beat out of their claim. Now, we've had a few content creators that had talked about when they were young, the police had tried to talk to them. Police can't talk to a minor. And I know that's true because
wait, there's an exception. If the minor is a witness, that's how they get you. Oh, We're not, you're not under, you're not in custody. We're investigating
Mhm.
and we're just asking you questions. You are not under suspicion of any wrongdoing. That is the way they get you. Because what did I say? Police can lie.
Mhm.
Police can lie. So if you're a minor and the police start talking to you, they are supposed to ask for a parent if you are under arrest. But if they just talking to you, seeing if you saw what went on, you're a witness.
Yeah.
See how you get
No, that's
in
true.
slippery line?
I get what you're saying, the show. I like for me and my friends, we've had a cop come over to like start. We're kids. We're scared. You know what I'm saying? Kids are naturally going to be scared. Something happened. Law enforcement start talking to us, and we're like, okay, we'll start talking. Then after that, somebody older said, hold on. Why are you questioning them kids? Well, I'm just questioning them without arrest. Fair enough. We weren't under arrest. We weren't under arrest. We were just talking to the cop. So he wasn't wrong about that. But then what was the problem was one of the kids did get arrested, and the cop started asking him stuff that he was talking about earlier. You know what I'm saying? But guess what the problem was?
Mhm.
There was no adult. He just got taken
Right.
down. He got taken down to the station, and they were asking no questions. The only saving grace, his only saving grace was one of the women knew who he was and said, "Hold up, Mm-mm-mm. I'm calling his mama. Come on, we got to talk to him." No, 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 no. I'm calling his mama. His mama works at Kmart. I know who this boy is. That is a boy. He is only 14 years old. I know sometimes black boys get assumed to be adults, but he was 14. So there's no way y'all can ask him questions without that of an adult present. But they were. They were asking him questions in the back of the cop car. He told me. He told me and a lot of us. They were asking him questions in the back of a cop car. They pulled over and asked him questions. And they were asking him questions when they were pulling him into the station. And oh yeah, those officers got fired. They got fired for that. There should have been no reason why you had him in the back of a cop car asking them questions. None at all. So they got fired. And honestly, that was bad. That was bad policing. That was bad practice. But when you don't have certain rights of protection and you don't know the rules, and an attorney in the show will tell you, when you don't know the rules or you don't have the proper money to fight, you get railroaded every time.
Oh
You get
yeah.
railroaded every time.
And I think we're going to see, unfortunately, it's going to be a tumultuous time in this country because of this role, this idea of now we have these people that believe in original intent. Now, I'm a rule of law, the law says what it says and means what it says. I'm like Thurgood Marshall. Um, I believe that 42 USC, when it says any person acting under the color of law, says what it means. Any person that's acting under the color of law. That includes judges, that includes police officers, that includes the prosecutor. All of these people are tasked with protecting your civil rights, but oftentimes they just want to get home. Judges, I've had judges, come on, come on. You guys can't reach, come on, let's hurry this along. Yes, you have a right to a speedy trial, but, you have a right to effective assistance of counsel. But again, how effective is your counsel when they're court appointed, knowing that this judge is going to be there? They're going to see that judge way sooner than they're going to ever see you again. That judge is part of their life. The prosecutor, sometimes, we as lawyers have to sit up there and do a few deals. It's like, um, yo, How about this? My boy will do two on this case if you give my other boy over here just 5. You know, I'll go ahead, we can do the max on this one if you give me the minimum on the other one. Those deals do happen like that.
Mm.
So, you know, I'm not trying to be funny. I know not everybody. I've gotten pulled over because, oops, I didn't have no insurance, and the officer's like, uh, ma'am, I need to search your car. I said, no, you do not need to search my car. You do not need to search my car. She's like, well, we're going to impound your car because you don't have insurance. Well, shit, bitch, I just forgot. It expired like 2-3 days ago. Shit. Okay, whatever. Got her on video saying that they were doing an inventory of my car because they were going to impound my car. And I went in my car and took out my purse and my children's belongings on video all the time. And I said, did y'all just see how she inventoried my car? I had nothing to hide in my car, but you did not have my permission to search my car. These things happen. But I also wanted to video what was in my car in case they wanted to plant something in my car in the name of inventory of my car. And
Mm.
because I was so cooperative, they took me and my children in the police car to the mayor's fundraiser. You know how cute that was, seeing me pull up in a police car to the mayor's fundraiser. He's like, Nichelle, what? Your police are just acting like police. That's all.
I
So
think one of the
people, it happens.
but now the thing about it is this, and what listen, y'all. That's why I purposely put it like that. Where Roe v. Wade was taken, Miranda Rights altered and changed. Because what it used to be is now altered and changed. So that way, when some of y'all possibly will deal with this, we don't know, and I hope you don't. I know I deal with these type of people, and Nichelle does. But I can promise you, if you don't know what you're getting into, or there's a slip up, I hope to God you know what's happening. Like again, there's a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And again, yeah, the guy he got away, and they said you should be thankful you got away. But the guy Vega said, no, 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 no. You're telling me I should be thankful I got away this time. But how many other people behind me are going to deal with this situation? You get what I'm saying, Michelle? And if they don't
Exactly.
know what you're doing, see, that's the thing about it. The laws or the rights that we use today were court cases before us. That's
It's called
how
precedent.
they. So he's putting out there, hey, something's different than what it was before. And if y'all not paying attention, y'all gonna get caught up in the sauce. When how many times have they been saying, hey, the federal government is violating my rights? How many times that happened in the show? We done stories on that
All the
so
time.
so
And right
now
now,
go ahead.
I'm going to get this in real quick. Right now, the Supreme Court has already ruled that the law protects all but the most egregious and most incompetent police officers. Did you hear what I just said? The most incompetent or the most egregious. Now, there was a case in which these guys had a coin business. They collected rare coins, and the police suspected some type of illegal activity, so they confiscated about $200,000 worth of currency. They put it in the locker room. The guys were later acquitted, and they said, "Where our money at?" They said, "What money?" They said, "All that money you confiscated." Well, we went to the locker room where we keep evidence, and somebody had stole it. So they do their investigation. So the guys sue the police officers that stole their money out of the locker room. guess what the court ruled? That the officers did not know that they could not steal from the police locker room. Therefore, they were protected by qualified immunity from stealing. Every 5-year-old knows you're not supposed to steal, but the court said the officers did not. There was no rule that the officers had been previously advised of that they could not go in and steal from the locker room. So you guys have to understand nowadays that we are backing the blue to the point of they can get away with murder. They can steal. They can lie to you. But if you take anything from this show, remember, if you interact with the police, if you are not careful, anything you say can and will be used against you. It can and it will be used against you. So when an officer gets up there and writes up his little report, I know a lot of people don't know this, but when you get a traffic ticket, the officer writes notes to himself on the copy that he takes back with him so that he can kind of refresh his memory about the particulars of your case. Not just what you see what he writes on the front, but he's giving himself little cheat sheet notes that, he smelled like this, his car was this, that. They're taking notes. He'll describe what you were wearing, the type of jewelry he observed. This is just for a routine speeding ticket, because his testimony will come out much more believable if he has those little characteristics. Oh, yes, I remember it was 5:45 p.m. and, I approached the suspect on the corner of such and such, and I observed this, that. He wrote that shit down afterwards. So bear in mind.
But see, the thing about it is this, y'all, and I've had my gun taken by the police before, right? And they give you a receipt. And it's very important. And y'all do me a favor, for 15 in the chat, y'all get the likes up, like the video. I mean, I don't ask y'all much. I know y'all like to watch from the clouds or whatever. You can at least like the video. I mean, you got a whole attorney here, you know what I'm saying, that's literally giving you great information for free. We only ask for a free like. Now, I kept my receipt. That's one thing my dad told me. He said, don't lose that receipt. Keep everything, every bullet, everything. Keep everything. Keep that paper. But yet make a copy. And I'm glad I did. But I'm like, hold up. There's one magazine missing. Are you sure? Yeah. It says 3 magazines. 3 mags. It's only 2. Where's the other? You gotta understand, that was all registered to that firearm. Do y'all know how important the show? Do they know how important that is for one item to be missing that is tailored to me? Do y'all know what that could do to me? This is why you got to know your right. If mind you that guy just brushed me off like, hey, you just need to go. I said, no, I'm not leaving. Mind you, 2 other officers came out. One of them was a sergeant. He said, what's the problem? Hey, what's missing here? He said, well, don't you have your firearm? I have everything but one item missing. One item, 14 bullets. I don't know where they're at. But y'all took it. So the ball's in your court. Y'all need to go back there and find it. And guess what? A lieutenant popped up. He apologized. Said, we do apologize about that. I talked to him. I talked to the lieutenant, and I talked to a captain. I said, do you know what could have happened to me if one of those rounds that are from my firearm, from my magazine, would have got
I
fired
found at
off.
the scene of another incident.
Right. That's my ass. That's me. Y'all get this is what I'm saying. Y'all don't understand how these things ripple and affect you when you have to know your rights. But the fact that I refused to leave that station and I challenged them right there. I'm glad I kept that receipt. I'm so glad I kept that receipt. I'm so glad I knew my rights, and I'm so glad I demanded to see a lieutenant or a captain right there. They could not deny me that. Even if they came in there with two more officers that, hey, you need to leave or you're causing a problem. No, 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 no. I'm not leaving for shit until I know that that other magazine pops up, which it did. It wasn't even with the other stuff. You're never supposed to separate any evidence from all the evidence that you collected from that scene. You're not supposed to separate that. I said, "What's up with that, Captain? Why is that evidence separated?" He said, "Sir, I will get to the bottom of it." Which, of course, they gave me some bullshit ass letter. But y'all better make sure y'all know y'all rights very well. And y'all better,
I
especially
mean,
some of
basically,
y'all.
what we're trying to say is, whereas people thought it was Miranda rights, the Supreme Court said no, that you don't have a right to those warnings. Those are just warnings. Those you have constitutional rights, but you do not have the right to sue an officer if he fails to give you a warning to shut the fuck up. Wait for your attorney to get there. That is what basically this case holds. Now, I know that there are a lot of people who are like, oh, well, that's no big deal. It's no big deal. You can't sue. But people thought that was a right. It is not a right. It is not a right to have the Miranda warnings read to you or told to you. You need to know that now and shut the fuck up. I don't know how many times I have to translate that, but when they said anything you say can and will be used against you. So if you are in police custody, wait for your lawyer to get there and shut the fuck up.
Right.
Because
Right.
if you start talking, they already told you that on every TV show that you've been watching for the past 60 years that you have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. You've seen these on I don't know how many different shows. So now you have a court that's basically saying, you're not going to be able to sue a police officer for failure to read you your Miranda warnings because you should know them already. The fact that you voluntarily start talking, that's on you. Now, unless you have an attorney that is going to show that the confession was beat out of you, coerced out of you, you cannot come back in civil court and sue them for the time you were off work because of your confession. You cannot sue them for the damages caused because you started running your mouth without an attorney, and now you have to hire an attorney that is going to try to suppress that confession. You can't do that. That's what I want you to understand. You can't sue because you started running your mouth.
Like I said, it's sometimes, and like I said, you guys, and no, truism. Yeah, you're right about that. There's a reason. There's a reason why. One of the things about it, when a superior to that officer comes in, one of the things that they do ask them was, "Did you read them their rights?" One of the things that Michelle would say to an officer, anybody, "Hey, You got all that stuff on them, but did you read them? Did you speak to them? Did you make sure that you follow the book? Hell, did you know that some of them actually have it on their notepad that when they open it up, the first thing they say, "Hey, make sure you read the Miranda Rights." Charles will tell you. And most officers you go talk to, ask them. They'll tell you. I worked with plenty of MPs. They will stop, say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Before we go any further, read them the rights." Because if they skip past that process, hey, Nichelle said, "Word, they missed that." Hey, you didn't read it to them. You didn't give it to them. So guess what? They didn't. Now y'all, and that's what I'm saying, man. Like, we're not saying this. Like, I know people saying, "Well, man, you're overhyping it." No, we're not, because this is why justice is blind. This is why it's tricky. Because when you're caught up in the moment, if you properly are not cool and level-headed, you don't know what could happen. You don't know what you could say that could put you in a situation. And I know a lot of people like, I'm telling you, man. Y'all be seeing little things of these people saying, before you say anything, let me turn on my phone. What y'all think people be BSing when they be turning on their phones? I know y'all said, well, all you got to do is shut up, be quiet, this and that. You know, Shell, how many times we seen them videos? Shut up, be quiet. No, you say, hey, could you make sure, how you doing, officer? I don't be no asshole to no officer. I'm very respectful. But I'm also making sure that, hey, just like I'm compliant with the law, you need to be compliant with the law also. Whether you had that badge on or not, you need to be compliant with the law also. You need to be compliant. I remember when I pulled over at a gas station, but I was tired. And of course, you know, police officer came up behind me. Sir, could you come out? Could you get out your car? No, I'm sleeping. I need you to get out your car. For what reason? I'm gonna finish taking my nap, and then I'm gonna go. Because I can drive, right, in the show. I can drive the road and risk killing myself. Or, as they tell you in the DMV handbook, what do they say in the show? If you're tired, you're to pull over at a rest area and get the acquired rest needed. It's in your DMV book. Believe it or not.
Now, also remember one thing. This is one thing I have struggled with. That if you pull over, take your keys out of the ignition,
right,
put them under the passenger seat, put them in the glove compartment, because a lot of us have been out sometimes, you know, might have had one too many drinks. It varies. It varies on how, you know, I only had 2 drinks. I can handle 2 drinks. The bartender might have had a heavy hand. You might not have the right food in your system. It hits you fast. Regardless, if you pull over and your keys are in the ignition, your car is in park, guess what? You still got a DUI because the vehicle is operable with the keys in the ignition. So these are things that they can't get you driving under the influence if the keys are not in the ignition. Don't put them in your lap.
No.
Because
That's true. That's true, because there was a woman, she got in her car out of the bar and she went to sleep. Now, only thing she did was crack the window enough. And I was like, yo, when I saw the law enforcement PD come up on her, I said, oh, snap, she's going to get a DUI. One of the guys said, why? The vehicle's not on. She's asleep. She has a right. That is her personal vehicle. If she wants to sleep it off in her vehicle, there is nothing they can do to her. There is nothing they can say to her. Only thing they can say, well, shit, she's asleep. Better her sleeping there than trying to drive in the vehicle. Right, Michelle? So the only thing that they could do was just look at her. And they're like, well, she's asleep. And the only thing they say, ma'am, you okay? Yeah, let me sleep. Yes, ma'am. Have a good night. Her vehicle's locked. She was inside of it. She was safe and sound. Y'all gotta understand, law enforcement are humans too. Lawyers are humans too. Judges are humans too. The law is not perfect. It's fallible. It's very, very fallible. It's not perfect. But we have certain things set up that people take for granted that can come back to smack you and get you. The things that are set up like Miranda on a certain levels was because there were interrogations that were not allowed. There were intimidation techniques used. There were all kind of stuff used to get confessions, to coerce people into speaking. Even for when it comes to people with mental health issues, they have protection under the law. I know some people don't take this as serious. Well, there's not a serious. No, y'all gotta understand. When they start placating and playing around with human rights, it gets very. Be prepared. Be very prepared. I'm a constitutionalist. I'm not for violating no rights. Hey, them rights are put for a reason, man. So y'all be ready and be careful. Y'all thought just Roe v. Wade was also being plucked at. No, they were playing around with other things in the late of the night. They do that a lot. So you guys need to be very careful of what's happening. Pay attention. Y'all can read over it if you want. Whatever helps you go to sleep saying, I don't got a problem. Not my problem. Cool. Whatever puts you to sleep at night. Whatever puts you to sleep, whatever makes you feel safe, have at it. But be forewarned. Anybody can get it. That's all I got to say. I want to thank Attorney Nichelle. I want to thank everybody for coming through the chat. Please like the video, share the video, critique the video if you want to. It's all cool. We just make the content. You guys absorb it. Whether you absorb it or reject it, it's all on you. I just want you guys to be careful. And I just want to make sure that y'all are knowledgeable about what is happening. I'm BMT alongside with Attorney Nichelle who had to go. We thank you guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. Y'all take care, guys. Peace.